Hi, Greg Romero Wilson here, and welcome to part 3 of The Girl Who Died 3 Times, The Other Side. In this, my sister Sarah discusses some really incredible things, whether or not there is actually a hell, a merciful God, and a special message for the families of victims of violent crime. Once again, I hope you stick around for a very special message at the end about how you can help Sarah's incredible journey continue. And now, prepare yourself for the mind-blowing conclusion of The Girl Who Died 3 Times. So, that was the surgery at 6 that cracked the window.
Yes.
Was that the first and only time you ever died?
No, I died 2 more times. Again, 1 more time in a surgery, and then...
How old were you when that happened, if you recall?
Both times I was 11.
Okay, two more times when you were 11.
Yes, because the second one was in surgery, the third one was on accident. The student nurse gave me medication. And that's when I started to die. It became kind of a panic. Mom and Dad were there. And I remember because it was right after one of my other major surgeries. I think this was when they reconstructed the uterus or the vagina, whatever you want to. And I was having a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So the student nurse came in because it was her shift anyways. And she was being taught. Well, my head nurse, Donna, wasn't in the room at the moment. So the lady just read the file and thought, it's no big deal. Well, she went by a little bit over. And because I was already in such a bad condition at the time, it just hit too much. Kind of like a little bit of an overdose kind of situation.
Right.
So I remember dying in that situation because I felt really good. They gave me the medicine and the pain started going away. But then I started going away with the pain. And I remember because it felt like a window. Because I remember going back that's strong. I got hit with it.
Right.
And I remember laying back and looking right at Dad and going, I don't feel so well. And just kind of falling backwards. And in my head, I was looking through a window.
Right.
And the window was getting further. It was going like this.
Right.
But I could see through it.
Right.
And I was falling, and Mom and Dad were in the window telling me to wake up. And then the nurse comes in, and she's, Sarah. And I could see her right in front of me doing this. And there was no response. I was just falling into a hole. That's what it felt like. A black hole. And all there was a little window like this. And it was just fading away. And Mom and Dad started praying. And the nurse was like, you gave her too much. And now she's not responding. And I just remember feeling like I was falling away. Slipping
just
away.
Drifting away, yeah.
And I don't know exactly what she gave me. I remember that she left the room. And then she comes back. And I remember she's grabbing the IV. And I can feel them tugging on me, trying to wake me up.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she put in the IV, but whatever she did, corrected the effect of the drug.
Right.
And I felt like I was electrocuted back into life.
Right. It was some kind of a jolt that...
It was horrible. I had never felt pain like that before because it hit right here in the heart.
Right.
It literally felt like someone...
It just brought it back to... Yeah.
And I remember because I came up in the movies, I was like that. And then they had to hold me down. And then I started vomiting up everything. And that was the 3rd time I died. Because watching it was really weird. Because even I was confused.
Right. What is happening?
What's happening? Why are you going? I remember feeling why are you going so far away? And they kept saying, Sarah, can you hear me? Sarah, her eyes are open, but she's not responding. Sarah, can you? And the snapping. And Dad, Sarah, look at me, Sarah. And I just remember looking at him not there.
Yeah.
And then Mom and Dad started, okay, you got to wake up. We're going to do it again. Wake up, Sarah, wake up. And it just kept saying, wake up, respond. And then it was a big hit to the body. My body just shocked me back to life.
Yeah.
And that was the 3rd time. And the 2nd time was the same because I remember something was happening. I don't know. I can't remember what.
Was it in the surgery the 2nd time?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because they brought me out of surgery. And something between there went wrong. And I remember feeling the same. just like I'm drifting away, and everything feels really calm and not really unnormal to me. I've gotten kind of used to dying.
You're like, here we go with this again. Yeah.
And I remember because Dad barged through the door and said, "Sarah, wake up!" And I remember going like that, like, ugh. And then looking at him and then just vomiting up all this green stuff and just feeling like so exhausted, like I was like thrown back.
Yeah.
Like I was being tossed back and forth. And I remember because I don't know where Mom went, but the doctor started panicking about something. And I remember hearing all of it.
Right.
But I felt fine. Like, oh, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to go over there now. Bye. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Dad was just like, wake up. And then I was like, oh, that's Dad. Like, I don't know. It brought me back.
Yeah.
That fact that they always had to just command it to happen. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like that authority thing.
Yeah.
You know, like when your father tells you something and you're like, I better do it because Dad's saying it.
Right. Yeah. Especially our father.
Yes. So that's how I felt. And I remember feeling so sick and looking right at him. And he goes, "You look like a ghost." He's like, "You're so pale." He's like, breathe. And I remember just vomiting up. And they even said, they go, "What is she vomiting?" Like they didn't even know what it was.
Right.
Because it was this weird greenish black stuff. And they were like
Ghostbusters.
And they were like, "What is this?" And they were like, "And it smells awful."
Yeah.
And Dad was like, "That's the demon. That's the demon that keeps trying to kill her. It's coming out. It's coming out." And they thought he was crazy.
Right.
But they themselves couldn't explain the vomit, like what it was and why it smelled so bad. And it did. It smelled like battery acid. It smelled horrible. It was like rotten. And I remember just thinking like, what is happening to me? Like 1 minute I'm here, 1 minute I'm there, and now I'm vomiting. Like I myself couldn't keep it like under control. It was just like sometimes I was there, sometimes I was taken away, sometimes I was brought back. But the last 2 times my parents had to bring me back. And then my grandmother brought me back the first time.
Right.
So,
do you think if your parents were ministers, you'd be alive today?
No, not at all.
You'd be dead.
I'd be dead. But
your parents, our parents,
yeah.
ability to understand the spirit realm and to connect to the spirit realm is what saved you.
I truly believe so. Yeah.
Now, having been over there, knowing what it feels like, knowing that there are evil terrors in this world, knowing that we're all ultimately connected.
Yeah.
And that when you go to the other side, there's none of this emotion that goes into this life. Right?
Right.
What about the other side? Do you think people need to know?
That it's there, yeah.
Yeah.
And that this isn't the only life. I mean, it's just going to be a very different situation.
Is there hell?
Yes. Absolutely.
Who goes there?
Again, we are spirit beings. We're in mortal bodies. And people who have demons, and that's what I'm going to say is demons, people who do real crimes, people who believe that they're possessed, things like that, that's where they go. And it's also even up to them when they get to that side. See, when you die, you're not hit with a ton of knowledge right away. It's not like automatically you know everything. No. It's still a process. Because you yourself don't want to believe you're dead. You don't want to believe that that time is up. And because you feel so normal, like because you're now a spirit and it feels comfortable, it feels normal. Like you've been there before.
Right. You're back to basically from whence you came.
Yes. So you don't really tell at first what has happened to you.
Yeah.
And it is a process for certain people. For others, it's a different kind of thing. It depends on them or their beliefs or their own ancestors. Certain people will die and their family members come and get them. And then it's explained to them and they're saved in a certain way where it's okay to go. And then there's other people who pass away too early and then you have to be explained why. Those things I really can't explain because there's a lot of different things that go into it.
Right.
And that is a higher power. That's a decision by a higher power or by a much eviler power. The eviler power will take you from this realm, and then it's up to the higher power to explain why. I can't explain that entity or why you died or why it happened to you. All I can say is that it did. And this is now you, the real you. And you're going to have to learn to adjust. I think also because we are spirit beings and then we become so full of energy, when we're on the other side. That's how some people get haunted, or spirits don't know how to process the fact that they're dead, so they stay. It is sometimes a real choice. And then sometimes it isn't. It depends on the person. Like someone who's an atheist. I believe that someone who's an atheist who passes away, they kind of go in the in-between because they themselves don't believe that there's another life or that there's a higher power. So now they're just energy roaming because they themselves don't want to believe it.
So do you think when you have like a real destructive addiction and they're like, you have to give in to a higher power, do you think that it's like a negative energy, a demon as you call it, that has gotten a hold of them somehow, and that the way that they beat it is by connecting to that higher power, and that gives them the power to beat it?
Yeah, because you know how certain people will say, well, I kicked cigarettes because it's a mental thing. Well, it's kind of the same thing. It is a mental thing, but you have to focus that energy and truly believe that you can focus that energy and turn it into what you want it to be. And people don't want to do that. They want a quick fix. They want answers like that. See, the power that we can have on that side, we can have on this side, but it's going to take a lot longer because we're in the mortal body.
Right.
But because we are made of pure energy and we are connected to everything, anything is possible. I mean, our whole world was created by our imagination because someone decided, I want to do this. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. But keeping that energy is another whole different story. Because it's holding a door open, holding the energy within yourself and connecting to everything else at the same time. And when you do that, it can go really good or really bad.
So are you talking about meditation now? What are you talking about?
Yes, I'm talking about meditation. I mean, people will take drugs and they have their experiences. Like people will take acid and think like, I saw the heavens and it's not really necessarily a trip. It really is you connecting to your spirit mind. And you're seeing with your spirit mind.
Right.
That's why they say there's colors and vibrations and they feel it because they are connecting to something different. You have now shut down the man part of you, the human part of you. And now only the spirit part of you can see everything. And even when you see it, it's different. It's like it's different.
Yeah.
It's just not normal. It is like an acid trip in a certain way. For them, it is that weird and psychedelic and But if you're not careful, you create holes in your mind. And those holes can just torment you all by yourself because it's an open door. And people don't understand that. They don't understand that by doing that, you're opening things that you shouldn't be opening, not until way later in life, to where you can understand yourself or know who you are. When you're confused, conflicted, lost, abused, hurt, you find these things and they seem like they're real connections. But what you're doing is creating energy. And then the energy feels like something else. But it could be anything. It could be anything. It could be something else out there. It could be something in here. I mean, because even people who have split personalities can even do it. I mean, it's really weird how someone could be like as normal as me and then turn into a complete crazy person. That is a window. It's a doorway. And how it switches off and on is kind of the same thing with the energy. You can obtain it and you can hold it, but to make sure you don't produce something bad is completely up to you.
So how does that work? What do you say control the energy? You're talking about our own energy?
Our own energy. Like
Okay.
I said, human beings are lightning in a bottle. And if we could understand that idea, we could understand the spirit realm. Because the spirit realm is energy. And they're still there. They're still alive. There is a heaven. People who have gone there, I mean, people who are there, they're living lives in a completely different way. And then you have the in-between where it's like, oh, we're kind of here, but we're kind of not. And it's kind of like a ghost, but it's not really a ghost. It's like more of an entity of energy. And it just can go backwards. It really can. Because once my door opened, all of that came with it. I started having the dreams. I started having visions. I could hear people's thoughts. I could feel energies, things like that. And it can be quite confusing and really just all kinds of messed up.
Yeah.
And that's why meditate. Because you want to take all of that and separate all the wrong and then just hold the energy.
Do you think that that's always kind of been really what prayer and extended periods of prayer is what it's actually about. It's about a meditation. It's about a focusing on the positive.
Yeah, it's focusing on the positive, not the negative.
It's focusing, and if you call it the Lord, it's the Lord.
Yeah. See, I think it's God because it's just too dynamic for it to not be real. It's too different. It's too unexplainable and perfect all at the same time. I mean, I can't even explain how it felt to be on the other side because it's unexplainable.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it gives you knowledge, but it gives you the kind of knowledge you don't really know how to interpret. I mean, you can ask the world for things. You can ask the earth for like answers and they'll give it to you. There's something always listening. Always listening.
Yeah.
And I truly believe it's God. But in other cases, it could be the devil too. And he does exist. And he is a big, mean motherfucker. He is not someone to play with, nor look for, nor invite. Because that shit, you think about dying is one thing, but meeting that person is a whole different experience. I mean, like, come on. You don't think about meeting God, but you definitely never think about meeting the devil. And the devil comes with like a whole legion of monsters. And he loves torment. He loves it. It's like playing, Russian roulette. Is the gun going to go off or not? That's how it feels meeting the devil. Meeting these entities. Because they are so good at manipulating you. And thinking that this is your ancestor. This is your dead grandma. This is your dad. And it's not. And that's the energy I'm telling people, like, stay away from it. Don't go looking for those things because they're there. And they love to play with the innocent. They love to play with you. They love to make it seem like it's so fascinating and crazy cool and look at what I can. No. That energy will consume you and immediately kill you.
How do you know the difference?
See, and that was hard for me to learn too. See, when Dad died, a month after Dad died was Halloween. And that's when it got creepy. I mean, really creepy. One night, I was very sick. And then I got it up and it was like around 2:30 in the morning. I was the only one awake. And at the time, I had my 2 dogs with me. And animals are very, very good at sensing things. So I went to the TV room and I decided I'm going to meditate and try to control the pain and just not, instead of waking my mom up or making a big deal about it, I'm going to control it myself. So there I was meditating, praying, and that's when it started going into that effect. I can tell the difference. When I'm meditating, I'm now in a different presence. I can feel the change. Because it also gets very warm and familiar. It's no longer like the same room or the same temperature. I can feel the difference in my body. So I started singing songs, Christian songs my dad had taught me.
True.
And in the middle of it, like maybe 30 minutes into it, weird shit started happening. So I'm singing the songs and I'm thinking of my dad. And I'm trying to pray. I'm definitely meditating. And all of a sudden, I hear my dad. And he starts singing. And so I'm thinking, it's my dad. Like, I want to believe it is. Now, there is a scripture in the Bible that says, to be absent from the body is to be in the presence of the Lord. And that was the one thing my father always taught me, was about that. And that even when people die, they do meet the Lord, and that there is no way that they can just be around. That there is connection, there's rules. So there I am praying, and I started hearing him singing, and I keep singing, and I just, I'm thinking I'm connecting. And then all of a sudden, noises started happening in the kitchen. Now, my father used to get up every night and make himself coffee and walk around the house praying.
Yeah.
That was his way of covering us.
Right.
And in the moment, I started hearing the coffee pot moving and glasses, and like as if he was really in the kitchen. And this is what started throwing me off. My dogs wake up and start looking at the kitchen. So I continue to meditate, and I'm thinking, okay, no big deal. Maybe I really am connecting, and this is no, it wasn't. I started praying, and something told me, don't listen. It's not him. And I remember stopping in the middle of my singing and going, nope, no, it's not you. I go, that's not my father. I go, you're not my dad. And in that moment, my dogs jumped up from the floor and started growling and barking and running into the kitchen. And the pots and pans started shaking and banging. And so there I go. And then I knew an entity. You're an entity trying to manipulate me and pretend you're my father. You're not my dad. You're something pretending to be my dad. I had to catch it before I completely got seduced by it.
Wow.
And then the moment I caught it was when everything started acting really weird. The dogs started running all over the house and just barking and growling through the house. Everyone's asleep. It's just me. So I'm in the TV room and I stay calm and I start praying and I'm binding whatever happens. And I remember feeling something really strong over me. And I opened my eyes and my 2 dogs are right in front of me, growling like it was right in front of me, like behind me. And I could feel the presence. I could feel like something dark over me. I was mad. I caught it. It was mad I caught it. It was trying to convince me of something else.
Yeah.
And I remember I had to pray and pray and pray. And then it was like really weird because then it just stopped. Everything just stopped. And the dogs walked in a circle and laid right back down in front of me and went to sleep. I mean, talk about weird.
Oof.
And I even said, I go, wow, you really try to confuse me. You really try to, I go, wow, you tried to pretend you were my dad. That's how messed up that was. You even sounded like him, started singing like him. But the moment I caught it and said, no, you're not my dad, it just lost its shit. Started banging pots in the kitchen.
Got angry because it couldn't have your energy.
Mm-hmm. Got angry. Started running all over the house. The dog started freaking out like it was chasing it. And that's what I mean. You have to be careful.
Now, let me ask you this. Most people don't see these things in their lives.
No.
They live their whole life.
Without ever experiencing something like it.
Are they lucky?
No, they're asleep. They're asleep to it. See, they're in their mortal body and they have the mortal thinking, the mortal way of being. They're not connected to the energy, which is already there. It's like, I don't know, it's like a light bulb you got to go turn on. Anybody could do it. I mean, why do you think those
But do you
monks
want to
can
do it?
No. I wouldn't suggest it. Like, there's certain people that really can do things like this and they're helping others. They really do. When they give like readings and they tell them like about a kid who died or their child who had an accident and it just happened to them, those things are good. But even for them, they're taking a very big risk by doing this because you're summoning something.
Yeah.
You're summoning the spirit, whether it is there or not. You're summoning something for someone else's pleasure. For
someone else's purpose.
Yes. And that can be a very big leap of faith for the person because you're taking on the energy into your own body to take on whatever you're trying
What
to do.
knowledge that they're trying to find out.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why I say don't go to Ouija boards.
right.
Don't go to tarot cards.
Right.
And anyone with amulets, even if they have some insight, I'd be careful because they're using a spirit guide when they do that.
Yeah. What do you mean a spirit guide? Is that somebody that's attached to them now?
Yes. It's something that they have looked for and have received, and they have connection to it, and they have answers from the other side. And yes, it will give you information, but it could also torment the person. It can make you sick. It could do all kinds of things to a human body because it's not a normal entity. You people are not always supposed to know everything, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
And these people who do readings like that, you're messing with spirits that are not real spirits. They're not your ancestors. They're people, they're just bad energy taking on form. They're just taking on form.
Are people inherently good energy? Or are some people brought here to be negative energy?
No, we're meant to be good energy. We're the ones who fuck it up. We mess it up with everything that we do to ourselves and everything that we allow in.
Yeah.
See, it's always an allow in. You have to always open the door. And we don't even know that we're doing it. We don't even know that we have that kind of power. So even just talking evil or thinking something, it's creating something, it's opening something. There's ears everywhere.
Yeah.
And human beings, I think, don't even know it. They don't even.
No, we don't. No, yeah. We think we're just cruising along, doing whatever we want, and nobody's paying attention, and just whatever.
And to me, you are. You basically, and it's fine to not be so in tuned, but remember that like everything you put out there comes back. Everything that you put out there is listened to.
Let me ask you this, and you don't have to answer this if you want to, but did you meet Satan?
I met one of his workers. I met a legion, not Satan himself. I mean, it felt like Satan himself. He definitely said that he was Lucifer, but they all claim to be Lucifer when they're messing with you.
Right.
And that's that experience. It happened in 2015. And
you don't have to tell you. We don't have to.
No,
talk
I
about
want to because
if it gives too much power to it, we don't have to do it.
No, I want to because it was so traumatic. I mean, it really was something different. I hadn't gone up against something like that before, and he caught me off guard. I had gotten hospitalized in 2015 for a kidney infection, and the pain was not going away.
Yeah.
So my doctor upped my meds to try to knock it out. It had been days now. Well, what happened when he did that was that it opened my door and like really opened it. Like I had to get saved. Someone had to come and save me. I could not fight it on my own. And it was the most scariest moment of my life.
Of all these things,
of all of
this
one takes the cake. Because he tormented me. He made sure I knew I didn't have that power at that moment. And
because of the drugs.
Because of the drugs. The door was just too open and it let everything in. And it was horrible because I'm in the hospital, I'm already going through stuff. And what really pissed me off is how he was able to come in. See, I truly believe in light, and all my bad experiences have happened in the dark. Mm-hmm. And to me, if there's light, you can't come in. Mm. There's a protection. I don't know. That's how it feels to me.
Right. And like, if you believe it, then it's true.
Yes. Well, my nurses at the time, I was knocked out. They finally knocked me out with the drugs, and someone had turned off the TV. And I had told them, the TV or the sideline is to always stay on, no matter what. And they didn't listen.
Of course not. They're like, oh, silly girl. Okay. She's asleep.
There I was asleep. And this is how I know it wasn't a dream or a hallucination. Because it woke me up. See, when it's a good situation, it'll come in a dream, a vision. You'll feel a good sense. Mm-hmm. When it wakes you out of your sleep, that's when you're in trouble. Because now it's there. It is a presence there. Yeah. It's not here. It's there. And that's what he did. And he woke me up. He wanted me to know he was there. I remember being in the bed and him saying, Sarah. Like that. Mm. And his voice, I'll never forget the voice. Because it was like a slithering sound. Like a snake. Sarah. Sarah! Like that. I was like, and I woke up and he goes, hello, Sarah. Sarah. Like that. And I was like, and I remember I wake up and it's just pitch black in my room. Just black.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm looking for the remote and he's like, you're not going to find it. They moved it too far from that room. And I was like, who are you? I go, who are you? And he's like, you know who I am. And I go, Lucifer. And he goes, oh, I love it when you know. And I was like, you can't be here. I go, you're not allowed here. I go, you can't be here. I go, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. And he goes, then why am I here? And I remember trying to climb out of the bed like this and him going, like pushing me. And I went like that back. And he's like, where are you going, Sarah? Where are you going? Where are you going to go? And I said, no, you're not real. I said, no, you're not real. I go, no. And I started praying. I go, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He goes, is the Lord your shepherd? Is the Lord your shepherd? Do you not want? Where's your Lord now? Where's your Lord? Tell me. What are you going to do, Sarah? And then more of them came. See, the main voice was here on the side next to me. And then he had the Legion, which felt like little tiny monsters pushing at me. And he kept jumping in my face. I felt like I was trying to like block him. Because he's like, what are you gonna do? Stop. And he's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I was like, this. And I was like, no, I bind you, I bind you, I bind you, I bind you in the name of Jesus. And he's like, in the name of Jesus, you're gonna bind me. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Stop me. He's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Sarah? And I remember just crying, started to cry. And then I remember saying to him, I go, you can't exist in light. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to turn that light on. You're going to go. You got to go. You can't be here. And I remember I climbed and I got almost up and something went and threw me back again. And I remember because I hit my head. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like that really happened. And all these things just lunging at me. I can feel like being pulled and tugged like this and then lunged at. And he's just laughing. And he's like, where's your Lord now? Where's your Lord? Where's your help? Who's going to save you? Where's your faith? Where's your power, Sarah? Where is it? Where is it? And I started crying and I started screaming, help, help, like really screaming. And I kept saying, someone's in my room. Someone's in my room. Someone's in my room. Someone, turn on the light. Like really screaming. And he's just laughing and they're hitting me. And I can feel them hitting my chest like this, like over and over again. And finally, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, turn on the light. And someone touches my shoulder like this. And I remember going like shock, like, because I could feel like a full grab.
Yeah.
And I turned and I looked. And it was Grandpa Romero. He's standing over me.
God's a hero.
And I looked at him and I go, Grandpa, they won't stop. They won't stop. They won't stop. Grandpa, they won't stop. They're killing me. They're killing me. And he smiled really big. And he went like this with his hand right over me. And the brightest light came out of his hand. The brightest white light. I was blinded. I remember because I even went like this, like, oh, like I couldn't see. And I just hear, no, like that from him. And then it's all stopped. It just all stopped. And in that moment, my nurses they start walking in because I had been screaming.
Yeah.
And I remember looking right at Grandpa saying, they wouldn't stop, Grandpa. They wouldn't stop. And I was exhausted. I just passed out. The next thing I know, I wake up and Dad and Mom are walking into the room. Oh, and that's what I forgot. He really tormented me about my dad. Before Grandpa shows up, and I think that's why he shows up. Because he tells me, I'm going to kill your dad. You want to know something, Sarah? I'm going to take everything you love, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's like I'm going to take your dad. And right now, I'm breaking into your house, and I'm stealing everything from you. You think you're safe, don't you? You ain't safe for 1 minute. You're now in my control. And that's when that started really, and I kept saying no. And that's when he put the vision in my head of 2 men going through my house taking shit. 2 days later, they had to tell me our house was broken into. The piano was stolen, my dog was stolen, everything was taken. He showed me 2 men in my house robbing us. And he's like, the way they're robbing you is the way I'm going to rob you of your daddy. It's like, and then let's see how well you do. And I kept saying, no, you can't kill him. I go, that's never going to happen. He goes, it's already happening. And there's nothing you can do to stop. And then Grandpa came and saved me. And then the next morning when I came back, I told Dad what he said. And he said, we got to do something. I go, because he's going to kill you. He's going to kill you. He's got a plan. I told him, I go, if he wipes you out, he breaks the covenant. And he knows that. I go, and if I lose you, there goes the protection. I go, you're the head. You're the head. I go, don't you understand? I go, don't you understand? And he told me, we're going to pray against it. This was just a bad experience. Greater is he that is in me. And I was so open. And I told him, no. This was different, Dad. He means it. He means it. He's starting a war. I go, he can't kill me. He could kill Drew. I go, so he's coming to take you. I go, because you're weak. I go, you're sick. I go, and he's telling me he's gonna kill you. I go, and I gotta stop it. I gotta stop it. I felt burdened. Like I had to do something.
Me too.
My dad died 4 months later after that.
Yeah.
And even up to the day that he died, I tried to stop it. I was warned. The spirit told me. I couldn't. They drove off. And calling him. He wouldn't answer the phone. They had just left, and I tried to chase after the van. Something told me, stop him from going. And they wouldn't answer the phone, and I couldn't stop them from going to do the procedure.
But you know, Sarah, though, I mean,
It was real.
I know it's real, but at the same time, you know, if it was Dad's time, it was Dad's time, and he just wanted to take credit for it. That's just an evil spirit who wanted to torture you and wanted to make you feel like you're responsible. But he just knew that it was Dad's time because it was Dad's time. You know?
Dad told me.
If it wasn't, we could have stopped it. You know what I mean? So when it's your day, it's your day.
Yeah.
And nothing can stop it. Isn't that right?
But it wasn't. He was supposed to die in his room, in his chair, in his sleep. That's how it was originally supposed to come. His heart was supposed to fail, and he was supposed to die in his sleep, in his chair. And it all got brought on faster because of the surgery. And that was their opportunity to strike him down. And I knew that what he was telling me wasn't a lie, and that he was going to do it, and that he was going to try his best. I just really believe. My dad's a minister.
Yeah.
He knows the word better than anybody else in the world.
That's true.
And he did.
If anyone could completely stop this from happening, it would be him. But he started to suffer, and his window opened because of the suffering.
Yeah.
And because it took me weeks to come off of the drugs from the hospital, I felt him. I felt his spirit and his confusion and his anger towards it all.
Yeah.
So when it really happened, I really couldn't handle it because I was upset.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
And also because I felt like the door got closed on me. If anyone should have known anything or felt anything or connected to anything, it would have been me.
Yeah.
And there I was with him, and I couldn't connect to him. I couldn't bring him back the way he brought me back. And I know he could hear me. I know he was there, but he was being translated. Because I could feel that presence. And when I felt that presence, I knew it was that presence because I had felt it before.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, it really is real. Like, you're translating. You're going to the other side.
Yeah.
And I knew that too. I was like, this is the time. It's his time. This is it. This is the day. And maybe he was supposed to die in his bed and maybe not. You know, I mean, but when it's your day, you know, people get up and they just plan to go to work. But the forces of the universe decide, no, today is the day that tire on that truck's going to blow out and it's going to force it into a skid, and that skid's going to take you.
Yeah.
You know, and
you know, my dad, I think he started sensing it too.
Yeah.
Because he knew how weird I was. And 2 weeks before he passed away, he was making himself coffee, and I came up to get my own cup. And he just stopped and he turned and looked at me and he said, I want you to listen to me. If something happens to me, you are not to go looking for me. I don't want you to lose your life. And I said, Dad, you know, I'm never going to listen to you. And he goes, no. He goes, this is different. He goes, I know that you have your ways of doing things. He goes, but if something happens to me, don't go looking for me. It's against God. He goes, and I don't want you to lose your life.
Yeah.
And then he brought up the story from the Bible about the son that brought his father back from the dead so he could talk to him. And the dad said, why have you done this?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have done this, you are now going to die with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. He loses his life. So Dad was afraid that something like that would happen. And he didn't warn me about it. And up until then, I really didn't care to take it serious or like tell him like, I'll never go looking. No, of course not. I always thought like, no, I'm going to find you.
Right.
It's always going to be a connection. So I'm just going to, use it. And when he died, they shut that door on me.
Yeah.
And I think they did it on purpose so I can accept what was happening and so he could translate to his next life without wanting to stay.
Yeah, that's great.
And so that was the worst because I had never gone against something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing that had predicted my future that well. And nothing that had scared me and tormented me the way it did. I mean, I felt sore the next day, like I had taken a beating. I mean, I felt exhausted, like as if I was in battle for a whole night long. And I remember feeling like a corpse, like I was dragging around a corpse. Like I had taken a beating of my life.
Yeah.
And I haven't had an encounter like that since then. I don't wish to.
Heck no. Boy, let's not do that. No, sir.
But they're there. It's happened and it's real. And I know that the devil's real because of how bad it felt. It felt like doom.
Yeah.
Like pure hate. Like I even asked him, why me? And he said, why not you?
Right. Why not any of us? Right. They'll take any of us.
They'll take it in.
They don't care.
Mm-hmm. It's just another
Are we,
night out.
okay, when we arrive, are we all children of God?
Yes. We definitely are. We are just like it says in the Bible, created in his image. So everything about us in this realm is everything that he is, from laughter to emotion, everything that we are.
He does laugh, right?
He laughs.
He has a sense of humor.
He has a sense of humor. Boy, he has a sense of humor.
Yeah, okay.
He wouldn't be a comedian if he didn't have a sense of humor.
Right. He loves comedy and he loves music.
He loves music.
Let me ask you this, and maybe you don't know the answer to this. This is something I've always, does he love worship?
Yes.
He does love worship.
He's the one who created it. And that's his way of keeping us together. Worship. We worship together. We meditate together. And in that, we connect to one another. Our energies are now synced. And when we're synced, we are one being. And when we're one being, we're unstoppable.
What about when you worship on your own, though?
Same thing. You're still connected.
You're just connecting to him.
You're just connecting to him.
So
You're
he does
connecting
enjoy
to
it.
the earth. You're connecting to everything he created. I mean, it's a little more complicated sometimes, depending on the person. But for someone like me, it feels so natural and normal, like just easy.
Yeah.
Like you're visiting a friend. And he's shown up. He's been in dreams.
Yeah. He's appeared to me as well. I remember I was really down. I was so down. And I had a dream. And what was strange about it was we're sitting at the table in the living room, in the dining room table.
Yeah.
And, okay, I left all my trophies here at the house from high school.
Yeah.
And of course, they wound up in the back in some shed and they've been, rained on and snowed on and snakes and who knows what else. And
I think I still.
but we're sitting at the table and someone had dragged out the trophies and set them on the table in front of me. But they're all beat up, from being outside.
Being out there.
Like, that's how I knew they were real, because they had been brought in from out there. So they were like, they were missing posts and half that they were, scraped up and all messed up. But there they were. There were all these trophies. The big red and gold one right in front of me. And, part of it was missing and wasn't the right color anymore in a lot of places. And I was like, oh my God, you guys dragged in my old trophies.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned. And there was Dad sitting next to me.
Oh.
And he looked at me and he goes, you've always been a champ. Don't forget, you're a champ. You're a champion. Don't forget that. You're not a loser. You're a champion. Without saying, he said it with his eyes.
Yeah.
The way that you said they communicate without words.
Mm-hmm.
He said that to me. He's like, you're a champion. Look at these trophies. They were just giving them to people. You won those because you're a champion. And don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, Dad. And the amazing thing about when you see Dad is that it wakes you up.
Yeah.
Your recognition of him, of like, oh, you're here.
Yeah.
You know, like, so before you can communicate to him and say anything, or it's that recognition. It just woke me up.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew he'd come to encourage me.
Yeah.
Because I was really down.
And that's how your ancestors will come. They'll come in a dream or a vision. If you're being woken up at night, that's not them.
Right.
But if it's in a dream or if it comes to you from just out of the blue, that's them. That's them trying to encourage you. That's them trying to show you, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still listening. I mean, I communicated with Dad like 3 times after he died.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the dreams was kind of weird because it was just weird. In the dream, I'm walking through the house and I could hear drums, like just big, like I don't know, like tribal drums.
Right. Like bongos.
Yes.
Right.
And I remember going over to the window in the front room and I look outside and there seems to be like a concert going on. It looks like a large field and there's thousands of people on it. And it's right across from my house,
Right.
Okay, in the dream. So I'm thinking, that's weird. So I'm not caring very much about it. I just think that's nice. And in the dream, I walk up into the kitchen and I'm getting some stuff together and I look up and at every window, there are people at it. There's people at the window. And there's tons of them, tons and tons of them. So I go downstairs to the other window to see what's going on and they're trying to open these doors. They're pushing the church doors. So I go to the front door and I open it and I was like, hey, stop it. What are you trying to break in my house for? Like I yell at them and there's tons of people. It's just tons and tons of people. And out of nowhere, Dad walks out of the bedroom and he looks completely like he was.
Yeah.
Healthy and everything. And he's in his gray robe. And he comes out, he's like, what are you doing? Why are you making so much noise? And I go, Dad, there's all these people on my yard and I don't know what they're doing. They're trying to break into the church. And he goes, you sure these aren't your stupid friends? And I'm like, Dad, do I look like I know this many people? Like, I even look at him and I go, wait. And I even look at him and I go, wait a minute. And I look back at the porch and there's a guy standing there and I go, hey, what are you all doing here? I go, you guys are supposed to be over there. What is going on? And he goes, and the guy goes, we're waiting. And I go, waiting for what? And he goes, we're waiting for it. And I go, what? And he goes, that's why he's here. And points right at my dad. And I go, what? And I look at Dad and he disappears. And I look back at the man and he goes, we're waiting for it. And I wake up. All I got from it was how bad they were trying to open that door. And that they were waiting for it. In my head, this means they're waiting to interact with us. Or they're waiting for our door to open, where they're freely with us, where there is no barrier.
Right.
That was my interpretation of it, because he even says, that's why he's here, about Dad. And they're trying so hard to open a door. And there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they covered the entire yard.
Yeah.
I mean, even the street, everything.
Yeah.
There were so many of them. And he just kept saying, we're waiting for it. And to me, that was so odd.
Yeah.
Because all I kept thinking was, that many people, what are you waiting for? And that's when I started putting it together, the door. Maybe they're waiting for the interaction. Maybe they are waiting on the other side for our 2 realms to collide, to finally interact. I think that maybe we are meant to be with each other. But there are barriers to keep us protected from each other. So they can move on and we can move on. But the fact that they were trying so hard to get in, it just threw me completely off. It just made me feel like, what are you waiting for if you're already over there?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
And that's what they kept saying, we're waiting for it. We're waiting for it. We're waiting for it. I'm like, what is it that you're waiting for? And they kept trying to push the door open. That's all I kept thinking. You're pushing the door open. You're trying to get into my house. Is it my house they're trying to get into, or is it our realm? And there's so many of them. Thousands of them.
Sure.
And I kept saying, we're waiting for it. And that was the first encounter I had with Dad after he died, was in that dream. So I felt like in some way that maybe there's a sign in there that I'm missing, that I haven't fully interpreted.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the mystery. Mine was real obvious.
Yours was real obvious. Dad was there to encourage you.
Me, yeah.
And the only reason why I also know that he was supposed to die of a heart attack is because Dad's the one who told me.
Mhm.
I had a vision doing the dishes. See, I'm sick now, and I need a kidney transplant. And so I'm going through my own issues. And so I was talking to the doctor when I first met him, my surgeon, and he talked about dialysis and all that stuff. But what really caught me was when he was talking about the medication that killed my dad in his dialysis surgery for the tube. They used iodine. And he told me, well, I can't even use an ounce of iodine because just one drop would send you into critical, he's like, you die.
Yeah.
It's just that's it. Your kidney can't handle it. It just kill you. And it was like boom, 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 boom in my head, literally. Because I remember crying and I was telling him, I want a real answer of why my dad died. I truly believe that's not how he was supposed to go. And I was mad because we had made a deal. When I was a little girl, I told him, why'd you wake me up? I told him that. I go, why'd you wake me up? It was beautiful over there. I don't want to be here. I go, I was sick and hurting and suffering. I go, why'd you wake me up? And then I haunted him with that for like a year. Why'd you wake me up? Why'd you wake me up? Why'd you wake me up? So my dad was very conflicted too about, was that the right decision, was to bring her back or not? And so we made a deal and he said, I'll never leave you. And if I do, we'll go together. Because we'll stay together or we'll go together. Because so you'll never be alone. So when he died, I felt betrayed. Felt like, hey, we had a plan, old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has a plan.
And there I was crying about it, and I was doing the dishes. And I said, it's not fair, you left me here. I got all weird and I can't fix anything. And it was like, boom. And it was like, I didn't leave you. I was killed. I didn't choose that moment. It's like I was supposed to die in the chair. But this is how it happened, Bebe. And it's okay. I'm okay. And it was just like in my head. And I was like, oh, okay. Like there's the answer.
Yeah.
Like he didn't mean to go. They did hurt him. They did give him the iodine. He did go into shock. He died.
Yeah.
And I was like so upset about it that he himself had to tell me, no. I didn't leave you. I was killed, but it's okay. I was gonna pass away in a different way anyways. But he had to explain to me, like, this is how it had to be. And that he was okay.
That's great.
I mean, he missed his mom.
Yeah.
But he looks in on us every now and then. I mean, he's not allowed to be in our presence all the time because then he himself cannot move on.
Right.
So
So
it's
he has
like
to
a flicker.
kind of check in on us.
Yeah, check in on us.
Yeah, like, hey, listen, I'm just going to go check in on him real quick.
Yeah.
And they let him.
See, my dad used to say, dying is like walking through a door.
Yeah.
And it is. It's like walking through a door. It's like going from here to there. And it took me a long time to accept that. Very long time. Because I felt that I let him down. I was tormented and told that they were going to kill my dad. And I couldn't stop it. And it took me about 2 years to come to terms that there was nothing I could truly do other than pray against it. And then afterwards, it was all up to him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, when your car gets pulled, that guy would love to tell you, that demon would love to say that he did it. But nothing is done without his permission. He chose the day. And that was the day.
It was hard.
So let me ask you this. You've gone through all these things. You've seen so much. You've felt so much. Was there any one last thing? Anything that gives you hope? That could give other people hope in this life and what we deal with on a day-to-day basis?
Keep faith. Know that you're not alone. Even if you don't believe in God, believe in your ancestors. Know that there is another side that really cares about us and that is still connected to us. We're not just bodies in a coffin. We're so much more than that. And if people could learn to just believe in even themselves, They could do tremendous things. I mean, we're incredible as human beings. I mean, we're even more incredible because we're also spirit beings.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's searching for something, you have the answers. Your relative, your family, even if nobody you know is dead, there's spirits there that care. They're angels. I've met them. I've met angels. I mean, I was 6 and an angel appeared to me to save me. I saved my ass because I couldn't do the procedure correctly. I couldn't learn what they were telling me. And I was hurting myself. And he had to appear and he spoke to me and told me what I needed to do. And because of that, I was able to continue on with what they needed me to do without any problems. And because of that, I know that there's angels. I know that there's a heaven. I know there's a hell too. And I just want people to understand, like, you're not alone, man. I know that it feels that way, but that is energy that is being brought in by you. Because you feel that way. Because you convince yourself of that. Just turn it around. And if you have a problem, go to a park and meditate. Go touch a tree and meditate. Because that tree has 1,000 years of energy that could bring you back to life if you just let it.
Wow.
Because we're just pure energy. We have power within ourselves to do incredible things, even to overcome our own situations. We're just so mortal in our own mortal selves that it doesn't reflect, it doesn't connect. That's why I call it like a little window, a little flicker of light. People don't know it's there, but it is. And it's tremendous to have. It's something that if you really want to obtain it, you can. And for those who are searching for family members, they're okay. Everything is explained on the other side, and they'll accept it in their own way, whether they want to or not, it's explained. And whether they understand it or not, they do find peace. And for family members who have lost someone to crimes or things that are absolutely unbearable to think of, that person's getting exactly what they deserve. Because there's no torment in the world that we can put on someone like that they're not already going through in themselves. Those demons are festering in them.
Yeah.
And they are turning them into unnormal humans. And they've done terrible things, and God will handle that. Everything done in darkness is brought to light. Those things, they never get away from them. Nobody gets away unpunished.
Right.
You got someone that you're looking for, you'll find them, and you'll find them dead, or you'll find them in complete chaos because that's what they're producing themselves.
Yeah.
We don't need to go and hurt somebody. They're doing it to themselves. They're opening a door and letting everything in. And when that happens, you're destroying yourself.
Wow.
And that's all I gotta say about that, because most people will go looking for answers for people who have been killed or children who have been kidnapped and murdered. For those parents that think the most unthinkable things that had happened to their children, God was there and he took them before it happened. They are not there when these things happen to them. They are now in the middle. They are not alive. They are not present when it is happening to them. I want them to know that.
We have a merciful God.
God is merciful.
And he's like, you're not going to be here for this.
You're not going to be here for this.
And he takes them out.
Mm-hmm. Parents have that problem with trying to understand because you have that. What did they do to her? What she went through? What she suffered? She didn't. Her mortal body did, but her spirit was not there. God comes and covers you in trauma like that, where it just takes you away. I mean, people who even survive things like that even say, I go to a mental place.
Right. Like, I can't remember what happened. Then it's
That's God. That's the spirit or whoever, maybe even a relative coming to block it from you, to protect you. Children who are killed, they're gone before they're killed.
Yeah.
They're not there in the present when it's happening. I know that. God has made it very clear that he stops it from happening to them. It happens mortally, but spiritually, they're not there. They're in a different presence altogether. So I want parents like that to understand that. Because it's horrific. It's horrible things. I can't even imagine being that kind of a parent going through something like that. And the only thing I can give them is the peace of mind that God took them and covered them before it happened. Now, the initial shock of being kidnapped or taken, that is something they'll remember. But the actual effect, they're not there. They're being shielded. They're being taken away. So they don't feel it. So they don't get affected by it. And in a way, it's saving them. It's saving them. They're saving their souls.
Yeah.
Because something like that can damage a person in a way that you'll never
Sure,
recover.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And I want parents to understand that. God is there, and He is taking them away before it happens. Not every person feels the true effect of what happened. And I'm very grateful for that, because in this realm, there's a lot of horrible things.
Yeah.
A lot of pedophilia, kidnapping, rape. And for those who have survived it or are still in this world, all I can say is pray. Because you will find that inner peace. You will find your guide, and He will protect you. And He will help you find a peace of mind inside yourself where it's just no longer controlling you.
Right, right.
And for those who never come back, or those who are found dead, they're taken care of. They're shielded from it. And as for the person who doesn't, they're tormented to hell. I mean tormented. Not for 1 minute do they not think or remember those people. And don't think for 1 second they don't feel their energy tormenting them too. Because now they're dead, so the spirit is there, and it can come and go. And it can go and haunt the person who killed them. It can go torment them. It can give them a sickness, make you vomit, just to show you, I'm still here. You may have done it with your hands, but I'm doing it with my mind.
Yeah.
And I want people to understand that. Because a lot of people go looking for answers for things like that. I can't explain why that kind of evil happens. Some people have a trigger where they just mentally break and the demon takes over. And then there's others that just have impulses to do shit that just is absolutely wrong. But that's the one thing I wanted to say, because there's a lot of doubt in all of that and a lot of complication in moving on. And it's hard not to think of what could have happened or what did happen.
Right, exactly.
And it does torment people into an early grave.
Yeah.
And I want them to know they're okay. And they were taken before it happened. They're not present when it's happening.
Right.
What is happening is to a body, not to a spirit. The spirit is now with God or with a relative that came. You're being protected. And it's kind of the same with the ones who survived too. And just keep believing that there is a higher power that loves you and knows you better than you know yourself. And that if you call on Him and you truly mean it, He'll come. They always do. It's like they love it. They love to come and visit. They love to know that you remember them.
Amen. I love you, Papa.
I love you too.
Hi, I'm comedian Greg Romero Wilson. If you're watching this, then you probably just finished watching part of the documentary interview I did with my extraordinary sister, Sarah Wilson, and her experiences with the afterlife and the other side. Unfortunately for Sarah's incredible journey to continue, she needs a kidney transplant, and given her unique physical conditions, that means it has to come from a living donor, which means myself or one of Sarah's other brothers. And while we are ready, willing, and able to help, unfortunately, that means twice the surgeries, twice the expense, twice the recovery, twice the medications, twice the travel and accommodations. And obviously insurance isn't going to cover all of that. So we've started a GoFundMe. And if this interview in any way touched your lives, spoke to you, we would love your support at this time. If you can help us out, anything you give would be greatly appreciated. Just go to the link that you find in the description of this video. Thank you very much. From my family to yours, God bless.